Imagine this: a young student sitting at a cluttered desk, books scattered everywhere, the dim light of a lamp casting long shadows on the walls. The clock is ticking louder and louder with each passing second. Deadlines loom like a storm on the horizon, and their mind feels like it's on the verge of breaking. They've been trying so hard, but nothing seems to work. Their grades are slipping, the pressure is building, and the fear of failing grows stronger by the day. They ask themselves, what's the point? Why even bother? But what if this moment, the moment of chaos, frustration, and exhaustion, was the moment that defined their future? What if this feeling, the overwhelming sense of failure, was just the turning point they've been waiting for? This is the moment that separates those who give in to pressure from those who rise above it. The moment where everything can change, but only if they make the choice to push forward, to keep going despite the odds. Because in this very chaos, in this uncertainty, lies the seed of transformation. And that's the journey we're about to dive into. The journey that could change not just your grades, but your entire life. So, what if this moment defines your future? The struggle. We've all been there. Exams creeping up, deadlines piling on top of one another, and the constant pressure to perform. It feels like the weight of the world is pressing down, and no matter how hard you try, it's never enough. The days blur together, and suddenly, the calendar shows that exams are just around the corner. Panic sets in. You tell yourself, I should have started earlier. I should have studied more. But that voice is drowned out by the anxiety building inside you. Think about the countless students, just like you, sitting at their desks, staring blankly at textbooks they don't understand. They flip through pages, desperately trying to memorize facts and formulas, but nothing seems to stick. Every passing hour feels like time slipping away, and self-doubt starts to creep in. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if all this hard work is for nothing? There's a story of a student named Sarah. She was bright, ambitious, but like many of us, she struggled with balancing it all. In the months leading up to her final exams, she barely slept. The stress was unbearable. Every day felt like a marathon she wasn't ready to run. As the pressure mounted, so did her anxiety. Some nights, she'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of her future pressing on her chest. She questioned herself. What if I let everyone down? What if I let myself down? Sarah's story isn't unique. It's the story of millions of students. Stress takes over, and with it comes the relentless cycle of overthinking, procrastination, and the fear of failure. The harder you push, the more it feels like everything is falling apart. Then comes the isolation. Even when you're surrounded by friends or family, you feel like you're the only one struggling. Everyone else seems to have it figured out. Social media shows you smiling faces and posts about success, but behind the screen, many are dealing with the same anxiety, the same self-doubt. And here's the thing, you're not alone. Every student at one point or another has faced this pressure, this overwhelming storm of expectations. The difference isn't in the struggle, it's in how you respond to it. The turning point. In the midst of this storm, there's always a moment, a spark that ignites change. For Sarah, that moment came during a late-night study session. She was exhausted, mentally drained, and ready to give up when her phone buzzed with a message. It was from her old mentor, someone she hadn't spoken to in months. The message was simple, but it hit hard. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is often just one more attempt. You've made it this far. Don't stop now. That message was like a light switch flipping on in Sarah's mind. She sat there staring at the words, letting them sink in. For the first time in weeks, something clicked. She realized that this wasn't just about passing an exam or getting a good grade. This was about pushing past her limits, proving to herself that she could rise above the doubt and the fear. She thought back to all the stories she'd heard of people who had faced incredible challenges and still managed to succeed. People who had every reason to give up, but chose to keep going. That realization hit her hard. It's not about being perfect. It's about persevering in the face of imperfection. With that shift in mindset, Sarah decided she wasn't going to let fear control her anymore. She wasn't going to let the pressure break her. She made a choice right there, sitting in the dim glow of her desk lamp. She was going to take control of her studies, not for anyone else, but for herself. She wasn't just studying for a test anymore. She was fighting for her future. But even then, the doubt lingered. The path ahead wasn't going to be easy. Would she rise to the challenge, or would she crumble under the weight of it all? Every day was a battle, and the fear of failure was still there, lurking in the back of her mind. Yet, something was different now. She had a fire in her, a determination that hadn't been there before. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was ready to face it head on. This was the turning point. The question remained, would it be enough to carry her through the storm? Building a routine. After that turning point, Sarah knew that inspiration alone wouldn't be enough. The excitement she felt that night was fleeting, and if she didn't take action, she would fall right back into the chaos. She needed a plan, something solid to help her regain control. That's when she realized the importance of building a routine, one that would help her focus and keep her moving forward, no matter how overwhelming things got. The first thing she did was simplify her days. She'd heard about the Pomodoro technique before, but never really gave it much thought. Now it seemed like exactly what she needed. She set a timer for 25 minutes, promising herself she would focus on just one task during that time. No distractions, no overthinking, just pure focus. After 25 minutes, she took a 5-minute break, stretching her legs or grabbing a quick snack. Then, she repeated the cycle. To her surprise, this method helped her break the mountain of work into small, manageable pieces. It wasn't so intimidating anymore. Each Pomodoro felt like a mini victory, a step closer to her goal. Another technique that transformed her studying was active recall. Instead of just reading her notes over and over, hoping the information would stick, Sarah began testing herself on what she'd learned. She'd close her books and try to recall key points from memory, forcing her brain to engage with the material. It wasn't easy at first, but over time she realized how much more effective this was. Each time she successfully recalled information, it boosted her confidence, and the fog of uncertainty began to clear. But it wasn't just about the techniques. The real power came from the consistency. Day after day, Sarah stuck to her routine, even when she didn't feel like it. It was hard, but with each completed session, her confidence grew. The more she showed up for herself, the more she discovered her own strength. Her routine became more than just a way to study. It became a path to self-discovery. She realized that the structure she'd created wasn't just about passing exams. It was about proving to herself that she could rely on her own determination and discipline. Consistency gave her clarity. It gave her the strength to push through the tough days, and with every small victory, she became more confident in her ability to succeed. Overcoming obstacles. Of course, even with the best routine, the journey wasn't smooth. Sarah faced distractions daily, her phone buzzing with notifications, friends asking her to hang out, and moments of pure exhaustion where she felt like quitting. There were times when the Pomodoro technique wasn't enough, when active recall seemed to fail her, and no matter how hard she tried, the information just wouldn't stick. Burnout crept in, slowly at first, then all at once. She hit walls, doubting herself again, wondering if all this effort was worth it. One night, as Sarah was on the verge of giving up again, she stumbled upon the story of J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. Rowling's manuscript for her first book was rejected by 12 different publishers before someone finally saw its potential. She was broke, living on welfare, and yet, despite countless rejections and personal hardships, she kept pushing forward. That story resonated with Sarah because, like Rowling, she had faced failure, setbacks, and moments of hopelessness. But what separated successful people from the rest was their resilience. the ability to keep going even when everything seemed to be falling apart. Another figure she found inspiration in was Thomas Edison. He failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb, but when asked about it, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This perspective shifted something inside Sarah. Failure, she realized, wasn't the end. It was just part of the process. Sarah embraced this mindset, understanding that setbacks were not signs of her incompetence but opportunities to learn and grow. She adjusted her routine, allowing herself time to rest and recover, avoiding burnout by balancing her work with relaxation. When distractions pulled her away, she refocused, reminding herself of her long-term goals. She wasn't perfect. There were still days where she struggled, but each time, she reminded herself that perseverance was more powerful than any setback. With every challenge, Sarah became more resilient. She learned that the path to success is never a straight line. It's filled with obstacles, but each one is a stepping stone to something greater. With every failure, she grew stronger, realizing that success isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up every single time. That's the power of a growth mindset. It transforms every obstacle into an opportunity, the breakthrough. Finally, after months of relentless effort, the moment Sarah had been working for arrived. She had just finished her final exam, the one that seemed impossible at the start of her journey. Her heart pounded as she submitted her last paper, the weight of months of hard work pressing on her shoulders. All she could do now was wait. Those hours between the exam and the result felt like an eternity. Doubt crept in again. Had she done enough? Had all the sacrifices, the late nights, and the endless revisions really made a difference? Then the results were posted. With trembling hands, Sarah opened the page and stared at the screen. Her eyes scanned the numbers, her heart skipped a beat, and there it was. She had passed, not just passed, she had excelled. All the hours of struggle, the moments of doubt, the nights of burnout, and the constant pressure had led to this one moment. Tears welled up in her eyes, not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. The breakthrough had finally come. Her hard work had paid off. In that moment, a quote she had read during one of her low points echoed in her mind. The road to success is always under construction. It wasn't about achieving perfection. It was about continuing to move forward, even when the path seemed unclear. Sarah had learned that success doesn't come from one single victory. It comes from showing up day after day, pushing past the obstacles and refusing to quit when things get tough. This breakthrough was more than just a good grade or a completed project. It was a shift in Sarah's mindset. She realized that if she could conquer this challenge, there was nothing stopping her from tackling even bigger goals. Her confidence soared, and with it came new opportunities. She was no longer afraid of hard work, no longer terrified of failure, because she understood that each challenge was simply another stepping stone toward her future. As she celebrated her achievement, the suspense built. What doors would this victory open? Would she take on a new academic challenge, a leadership role, or maybe even something outside of her studies? The possibilities felt endless, but one thing was clear: this was only the beginning. Her breakthrough wasn't the end of the journey, but the start of something even greater, the ripple effect. Sarah's breakthrough didn't just transform her academic life. It began to ripple into every corner of her world. The discipline she cultivated through studying started to shape her daily habits. She became more organized, more focused, and above all, more confident in her abilities. But it wasn't just about grades anymore. This newfound confidence spilled over into her relationships, her career aspirations, and even how she viewed herself. Before, Sarah often felt overwhelmed and insecure, not just with her studies but in social situations too. She hesitated to speak up, unsure if her opinions mattered. But after overcoming such a massive academic challenge, she realized something important. She was capable of more than she'd ever given herself credit for. Slowly, she started applying that confidence outside the classroom. She volunteered for leadership roles, started saying yes to opportunities she would have shied away from before, and found herself thriving in unexpected areas. Her relationships grew stronger too. The same focus and patience she developed while studying allowed her to be more present with her friends and family. She listened better, managed her time with them more effectively, and became a source of inspiration to those around her. People started noticing the change, and soon, her friends began seeking her advice on how to stay motivated, how to push through their own struggles. In her career, this growth was undeniable. What once felt like distant dreams now seemed attainable. With each success, her vision for her future expanded. Her journey through studying had taught her a lesson that would stick with her for life. Growth in one area leads to growth in all areas. The effort she put into her studies created a ripple effect, pushing her toward a brighter, more fulfilling future in every way. Sarah's journey from the depths of doubt and struggle to her ultimate breakthrough is a powerful reminder of what's possible when you refuse to give up. She faced overwhelming pressure, burnout, and setbacks, but with determination and the right mindset, she turned things around. Through building a routine, overcoming obstacles, and believing in her ability to grow, Sarah didn't just pass an exam, she transformed her life. The key lessons from her journey are simple but profound. Perseverance, discipline, and self-belief are the pillars of success. The moments that seem the hardest are often the ones that define your future. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving forward, one step at a time. Sarah's story isn't unique. It's the same story waiting to unfold for anyone willing to put in the effort. Now ask yourself, what will you choose to do today that will shape your tomorrow? The decisions you make in this moment could be the turning point you've been waiting for. Whether it's studying for an exam, working on a project, or building better habits, the path to success begins now. The only thing standing between you and your goals is the decision to start. So, take immediate action. Grab your notebook, set that timer, and start studying with purpose. Each moment counts, and with every small step, you're getting closer to your breakthrough. If you found inspiration in Sarah's story, be sure to subscribe for more motivation on your journey to greatness. This is just the beginning. Together, we can achieve anything we set our minds to. Your future starts today. Let's make it happen.